Hey everyone, it's Tom Lamog, Guitars for Vets, here for the second edition of IJAM, the introduction to Guitar Jam. And what we are trying to do is get you prepared for that first jam session, either with another guitar player or maybe showing up to one of the neighborhood jams. Any way you look at it, we want to get you ready for it. So last week, what we did is we took the group through some of the essentials, some of the things that you need to know to get to that jam. Why do you want to jam? You know, for the most part, you become better as a player when you interact with other musicians. They'll kind of encourage you to keep time and keep up and play, and maybe share some of the things you know with them. But it's definitely a collaborative and an enjoyable experience to a number of the people who've shared their stories last week. What songs do you play? Well, we're running through a few of them. We're setting aside some time to run through some of the more popular songs that you find at some of the jams, not all jams, but give you a taste of what are some of the tunes that you want to bring. Some of the mistakes you want to avoid in a jam. You certainly want to keep time, you want to play the right chords, you want to sound complimentary to whoever's leading the song, and with that of course comes a little bit of studying. So those are some of the highlights. And well, this week what we're going to do for this particular session, we are going to be focusing on the importance of naming the notes on the E and A string, the significance of that. You're able to build chords, you're able to solo off of the root note, identify relative major and minor, and we'll get into a little bit of that later. We're going to talk about the movable chord shape. So when you're playing an A, and so is your partner who's you're jamming with, you'll probably want to try and play a different, up the neck, possibly, different A position, using a barre chord, E, where I'm using an E formed shape A chord, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then of course, using the capo. I think the last thing that we did, what we had talked about, was picking up where we left off. So let's go ahead and get right to that Joni Mitchell tune. You guys practice that, I hope. If you didn't.
Yeah, I practice. I don't even know the damn song.
All right, real good here. Well, you know what? This is one of the songs that was real popular by Joni Mitchell in the 70s. Just a little background on it. And, she's like one of the trailblazers of rock music, female trailblazers, if you will. One of the first and one of the most respected. If you'd like to hear the song itself, I highly recommend you just taking a listen to it and familiarizing yourself with any song before you actually head out to a jam. Some of the popular ones, and they do have websites out there. We're going to talk about that next week. The resources that are out there. So right now I'm going to mute y'all, and let's see. What you should know is that when we do play this, no one can hear you. Only you can hear you. You can hear me. I can't hear you though. So what I want you to do is, feel comfortable just doing what you would like to do. If you want to strum, or if you want to play the barre chords, or if you want to play, the power chords as well too, or if you want to just play bass, it's really up to you. But practice. This is your opportunity to go ahead and see what it's like to, to play some other things, or maybe just strum with me. All right. So there we go. Got my foot pedal working. Here we go. Here we go. Verse 1. The paved paradise put up a parking lot with a big hotel boutique and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. The paved paradise put up a parking lot. They took all the trees, put them in that tree museum. They charge the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. The paved paradise put up a parking lot. farmer, put away that DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, believe me, the birds and the bees. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? The paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard the screen door slam, and the big yellow took away my old man. Bye-bye. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? The paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Oh yeah, they paved paradise, put up a parking lot. All right, y'all. How'd you do? How'd you do? Did you guys make it through all right? Some of you aren't familiar with the song. Yeah, that's understandable. But when you show up to a jam, there's a real possibility that that you're really not going to know some of these songs as well. So don't feel bad. Don't feel discouraged. So let me go ahead and bring my guest panel here with me.
Circle of fifths.
Uh-huh.
And the thing it's really nice to learn this thing because once you get into a jam, if you don't know the song, just ask who's ever leading. Okay, what key are we in? So if it's in the key of C, then there's the C. That's the 1 chord, and then the F is the 4 chord. There you go. And then the G is the 5 chord, and it goes around in a circle. So if it's in the key of D, you've got a D, a D. D and an A and a G, so 1, 4, 5. So if you know if they tell you what key it's in, now you know the chords that you can play. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So exactly, there are, and you're going to find in Western music that that there are going to be like some of the real popular songs. They could be in the key of G, and you know that G, C, D, those are all part of the family of chords for G major. You're playing an E, A and B. So E, A and B are also part of that family of chords. So hey, show that graphic one more time there, Bruce. So let's go ahead and tell me, folks. We're playing in the key of D. All right. So in the key of D, if you look to the right, you've got G, and then to the left, you got A. So the two chords that you're going to find in that circle of fifths for the key of D will be G and A. And then if you scoot down to A, if you point to A, and you look to the left and the right of that A, you'll see D and E. And those are also going to be chords you're going to find in some of the songs, most of the pop songs and country songs that you find these days. So that's just kind of quick look at looking at the circle of fifths. Cool. All right, Dave Jordan, I see that you joined us as well too. He's part of our panel. Let's see here. Let me do this. We made it through Joni Mitchell. Thank you. What I'm going to now do is I'm going to refer us. Let's see here, to page. Let's see. It's the Finding Your Root. The notes on the low E and low A. So let's talk about that. And really, this is kind of a lot of the guitar players rely on knowing the notes on the low E string and the low A string. And Dave, I'm going to try and get you on here on this panel discussion here. Yeah, the spotlight. How you doing, man?
Good.
So let's talk a little bit about this. So there's so much that is dependent on knowing those notes on the low E and the low A string, on the A string itself. Finding the root note itself. If you were to, look at the G note, if you take a look at G, What are some of the things that come to mind to you, Dave, when it's like, okay, I know I've got G right here, and if I want to say, for instance, play a scale, how important? Why is it important that I know where that G note is?
Well, that's where your bar chord's going to be for the G, first of all,
Yeah,
for
there you
third
go.
fret. That's one.
There you go. That's one.
Plus, you'll know where your relative chords are. Well, once you know your bar chord,
Mm-hmm.
you're in the E shape, what's known as the E shape, of course, on the third fret. And when you go to the A shape, you got on the same fret, you get to your C, and you go up 2 frets, you get to your D, which is kind of like what Bruce just showed us on the circle of fifth string. Those are your root, your third, and your fifth chords. And that works anywhere on the fretboard. Like there, you're in G, C, D, but it works anywhere, any starting point you want, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that really opened up a lot of doors for me right there.
It's the 1 chord of the 4 chord and the 5 chord.
You're right. Yeah, I stand corrected.
Yeah. And that's all because you knew that the root G, all right, is your 1, and then C is your 4, and D is your 5.
1, 4, 5 is what I should have said. Yes.
1, 4, and 5. So there's so many ways that you can approach that. So, so that's one thing. Bruce is the master of scales. Why is it important? Why is knowing the root note of G important for a scale?
I am a big fan of scales. Partly, my students are all beginners, and so I play scales so that it's an exercise for their left hand and their right hand. But then I can also teach them, how do you make a chord out of that scale? Well, it's the one note of the scale, the 3 note of the scale, and the 5 note of the scale it's a chord. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if you flat that third, now you have a minor chord. So but again, I think I do the scales more just to get people to train their ear, so that they'll know that their ear will tell them if they're making a mistake in a song or a chord or a scale.
And you pointed out just one other thing that's come up in conversations, either on last week's session, triads. Maybe someone wants to play triads, and in order to identify a triad, you need to know where that root note is. So if you're going to play a triad with an A major chord, an A major triad, you got to find A, and we know that A is here. We know A is here. We know A is up here, and we wouldn't know that without knowing where the root note of A is located at an open A string as well. And then you form your 3 or your flatted third and your 5th, knowing that the root note is kind of your anchor. So power chords is another one. Dave, power chords are used as an alternative to playing full chords. And you have your guitar? You want me to show? You want to talk through a bar chord, how to create one?
Yeah, I can't use I have to run in the door, so I'm at my other computer now. I can't.
No worries, man.
Yeah, you do the guitar part. Well, power chords are great. They're much easier to play than all-out bar chords. Anybody who's learning really wants to get to know those.
Mm-hmm.
You're really just playing the 2 bottom strings.
Yeah. Bruce is demonstrating right now. Note, he's got his finger on the root, and then, there you go. That root is planted on the 5th string, all right? And when you do that root on the 5th string, you know that you can place your, I'm placing my 3rd and 4th fingers 2 frets up and 1 fret down. That's a C power chord and a D power chord. And that's really, in order to know what those chords are, again, you need to know the names of the notes on the low E string and the low A string. Octaves are the same with root notes. As a soloist, when you start to solo, it's important to know where to find. Okay, where's that G again? Okay, here it is, and now I can solo around that root note. With if you don't know the root note, then it's kind of a little difficult to navigate. I mean, you can certainly do it by ear, but if you know for sure that I can find the G note up here, then I know it works. So arpeggios. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, when you're just playing those power chords off the C note, you're not touching the low E string, right?
Correct.
So people, and you can do it by muting it with your thumb, or just being careful which strings you forget. People like.
Yeah. So I think in the PDF file that I provided everyone, I think it's page 10. It shows the root notes on the octave. And the significance of that, of course, could be because of soloing, or you want to create triads, or you want to do your scales. There's the G major scale. You wouldn't know, how to play the G major scale without finding, first of all, that root note. All right. You can play up the string, or you can play across the fretboard, but you need to know where that root note is. There's another page 11. It shows how to shape the power chords, just as we were talking about, on both the E string and the A string. Those are really good to know. The bar chords themselves, we talked a little bit earlier. You got to find, the root note, and then you can place your bar, and then the necessary E shape, E form or A form for those fifth string root notes. But that's all on in the handout as well too. So here's what I want you all to do. Here's what we're going to do right now. And this is going to be your homework assignment, because the significance of this, as you can see, there's a lot of value in knowing what this is to form all of these different options. So call out the chords with me, or call out the notes with me. Let's go up the neck and then down the neck on low E string. All right? So everyone on mute. Here we go. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, B sharp, D, D sharp, E. Bruce, you want to take us back down with using flats?
Yeah. So
go for it.
E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A flat, G flat, F, E.
And now, you want to call it out for me, Dave, for A? Or you want me to do it?
I'm good. Okay. A. I'll call them sharp. A sharp.
Mm-hmm.
B. C. C sharp. D. D sharp. E. F. I'm sorry, F sharp. G. D sharp. A.
All right. Bruce, you want to flat? You want to go flats?
Your alphabet too. That counts.
And it's hard when you're not playing the guitar. It's kind of like, it doesn't quite connect. You use the muscle memory, huh?
Remember, no such thing as B sharp and what's the other one?
E sharp.
E sharp. B sharp or E sharp. You keep that in mind, you're good.
Yeah. Bruce, you want to take us down with flats?
Sure. Yeah, flats. Okay, so we've got an A, we've got an A flat, we have a B. No, we have a G. And then we have a G flat, and then we have a F sharp, G flat, F. No, that's F. G flat, F. No, that's an E. I'm sorry. There's an E, and there's an E flat. I'm getting lost here. D flat, C, B flat, A.
Yeah.
I think I made a mistake.
And I'll be honest with you. Before this whole week during class, I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. And I kept fumbling going back down the scale. So, hey, it's not an overnight thing. It's something that we all have to practice over and over and over and over in order to really familiarize and memorize the position of these notes on those strings. But please use that, incorporate that in your exercises, your practice routine. It's important to know that, okay, I want you to go ahead and play fifth string root will be a D and the D chord, and using that position, the A-shaped D chord. So you got to find D, and I'm going to play an A-shaped chord to play the D chord itself, which is the next topic. That's really what we're going to go to. So let's go to exploring the fretboard chord form, the chord forms page. I believe that's 13, page 13. And what you're going to find, there are 8 different movable chord shapes that we're going to talk about in this session and the importance of it. Again, let's say, for instance, you're in a jam and the person you're jamming with is playing open chords. And you play open chords, and it's kind of like, that's all right. All right. But when you choose a movable chord shape, playing the same chord, using a different shape, a different form, it adds some real depth to, the playing. So we're going to show you some of these chord forms, starting with the E major. And first of all, when you may already know this. You can use the E form. You're creating the E form itself, all right? The open E. And there are 2 things that you need to know to make this a movable chord. Well, maybe 3. You're going to have to play with the other fingers. So get used to playing with your second, third, and fourth finger to make the movable chord shape, because you're going to use that index finger to be your bar. So if you were to use, we'll use the E form, the open E, right? You're using open E. You place your finger where the nut is. That's your bar. And then say, for instance, you want to move up a half a step or a fret. All right. You move that same E form, but use your index finger to plant that bar. F sharp, that means another half a step or a frame. You move everything up, including the bar. You've got your E form, right? It's a form of an E, and your bar. And then G. Let's do a G using the E form. Okay, this is the G chord using the E form, because see, the E, I'm using an E form and using a bar. So that's all right. So this is the E form of a major chord. So when you've got your jammer playing the open G, another option might be for you to play that E form of that G. Sounds different, You've got G and you've got the E form. And you really can tell, particularly if you record and you hear one of the guitar players on the left channel and then you're on the right channel, or however that's done these days. And you'll hear a more fullness. It even comes through live as well. The next is an E minor shape. The E major shape. Like the E minor, you just lift that, that finger off the first string of an E major to make it an E minor. And you do the same thing. You're going to apply the bar where the nut is, and then you're going to just move one fret up at a time. Right? That's an F sharp minor. That's a G minor using the E minor shape. I'm going to go to the A, and that is an A minor using the E minor shape. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Then, of course, the other 2 chords, you got the E major 7, the E, and then the E major 7, you're just going to take your finger off of the 4th string. And then, again, you're going to use the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers to make those shapes, those different forms, and then use your index finger to bar. Let's see, your E major 7th, F major 7th, G, A major 7th. All right. And the same with the E minor 7th. Any questions on that chord form? Makes sense? So, here's what I want you to do. I want everyone to do an A chord using the E major form. A chord using the E major form. All right. First of all, you got to identify the root note. The root note is here. You know that you're going to place your bar there, and you're going to take the E form and plant it there. Right? Okay. Now let's do the C chord using the E major form. Step 1, find the root note. Here it is. Here it is. All right. It's on the 8th fret. Lay down your bar, lay down the E form, and there's your C. All right. So if you want to play C down here, you can, but you could also play it up here using the E form. Okay. Excellent. Any questions? Speak up if you do. All right. Now the A major form. All right. Now this is, again, you're going to have to know the root notes on the A string. That's the significance, right? A. Okay. And then when you make the A form, maybe you use all 3 fingers, but I encourage you to cheat like me. Use 1 finger. I got fat fingers, and my guitar playing with all those fingers in that spot, it doesn't quite work out. So to do it the textbook way, you use fingers 2, 3, and 4, on strings 4, 3, and 2, and then you would apply your bar on the nut, and then of course you move up 1 fret, just like we did on the E major form. It's really tough for me, so I'm just gonna cheat. I'm just gonna use my my ring finger, my 3rd finger. And is it important that you hit that open string if it's fretted, if it's muted? Well, let me ask the experts. Let me ask my panel here. Is it important that you hit that when you do an A form?
No.
And why? And why is that?
It's just hard.
Because it's kind of like you get what you get. You're hitting the triad. That's the important thing. You're hitting the triad of these notes, and the triads would be on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string, right? And you're hitting the root note, which is the bass, and that's all you really need. But if you have the ability to play that 5th string or that 1st string, it's gonna ring. But boy, oh boy, it's been years since I've done that. So cheating is good as long as the chord comes through. It sounds clean, and it really, again, it complements the sound of what the leader's is doing. Same with the A minor form. You're instead of using the A major, you're just making the A minor form using fingers 2, 3, and 4, using the bar, place it, and up you go, up the neck you go. All right. A major and A minor are the same. So you guys now have the concepts of creating bar chords, the different chord shapes. All right, 8 of them right there on the handout. And again, it's in order for you to play this, you need to know the notes on the low E string and the A string. Okay. Hey, thanks, Rich. I found a fun and good practice program for setting note locations on the fretboard. Fretterverse.com. It's a free download. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Any Chris Stapleton fans out there? One of the greatest songwriters of this generation, for sure. He's been around a while. Okay. All right. Maybe now maybe not now. Maybe later. We've got a singing and playing series that we're going to talk a little bit about next week. And for those of you who are saying, I'm not a singer. Well, hey, we can't hear you. Only you can hear you. And if you think that adds joy to playing music, to playing guitar, and even singing, we're going to try and help you on that path. And I've got Kelly and Melissa who will be joining me next week to talk a little bit about that, integrating this into your repertoire. Here we go. Maybe I'll pick this one because we got pickers out there. Have fun with this, folks. I used to spend my nights at the barroom. Liquor was the only love I know. But you rescued me, reaching for the bottom, and brought me back from being too far gone. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. And honey, I stay strong on your love all the time. I've looked for love in all the same old places. I found the bottom of the bottle's always dry. When you poured out your heart, didn't waste it. 'Cause there's nothing like your love to get me high. Yeah, you're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet, yeah, as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. Honey, I stay strong on your all the time. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. Honey, I stay strong on your love all the time. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey. A Tennessee whiskey. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. A Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey. All right. How'd y'all do? That was fun. Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. What do we need to know about this song? You can play this strum. You can play this finger picking. And if you were able to go ahead and sing along, I hope it was fun as well. Anyway.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
question somebody might be wondering, that chord C/G you saw on the sheet.
Oh, right. So, what you're doing is you're, instead of playing a C, so you've got your open C chord, all right? You're using that /G as a bass note. So you're, instead of playing C as the bass, you're taking your third finger and you're placing it on the G note, the low G note, G string, third fret. And then I also play like the high G on the high E string. That's on the third fret, first string. So you've got your C, and then you got a C with a G bass. But I throw in that.
Yeah.
To kind of emphasize the G.
Playing all 6 strings, right?
I'm playing all 6 on that one.
Right.
Cool. Thanks for the question on that. Any other questions on that? It's, again, you're going to play it differently than I do, and that's cool as long as it's complimentary. Yes, Kelly.
On that C that you just did, could you go ahead and play the C and use your pinky finger on the G and play all 6 strings?
Yes, you can. Why? Why? Bruce, I'm going to defer to you on that one.
Because you're playing a C and it's in the chord.
That's it. Exactly. Because G is a note that's in the C major scale. It's actually the 5th interval, the 5. All right, 1, 3, 5. Yeah, that's perfect. And I did that. That works too. Cool.
Yeah, anytime you see that slash, it's telling you to add, it's to add that note on the bass. A really pretty chord is a D/F sharp.
Adds that bass, that bottom end.
F sharp to the bass. Yeah, that's a pretty chord.
Yeah, you experiment with those. You're going to play, I mean, certainly we know the open chords, but when you can deviate from the open chords, maybe enhance the open chords, you can embellish it. That's pretty neat to do too, because it's not sounding like what everyone else may be playing. And I'll tell you, when that's happening, it's kind of like, whoa, that was pretty cool. How'd you do that?
There was also a question, how could you play that Tennessee whiskey with a capo, which I've answered in the chat. You can basically, you put your capo on the 5th fret. So when Tom's playing a G, when he's fingering a G, you finger a D, which is the same as a G. The E minor or A minor, you finger an E minor. And then that C/G, you just play a G. And it adds a lot more notes to the song so that you're not playing over each other.
And that's quite the segue. How did you know we were going to be talking about capos next? Because this is this is an essential piece of playing up the neck as well too, is using the capo. Now you know the bar chords, all right? You know the root note, you know the bar chords, you know that you have to place the root on the 6th string and then form the E form. Well, guess what? If you replace this bar with a capo, and you're playing the E form, it frees up your other finger. It also plays you up the neck, and it adds a fuller sound to what maybe the lead person is playing. So Bruce was just demonstrating that. And if you turn to page 17 of the program guide, we're going to talk a little bit more about what Bruce was showing us. Now, there are at least two ways that I'm familiar with why capo is used, and there are certainly more than just the two. But the things that I want to share with you, first of all, say for instance, all right, it's just too low to sing, right? The easy thing, the easy fix to do to keep playing these same chord shapes that you're familiar with is just to place the capo on your guitar right there. And you start anywhere. You can start the first fret, and of course, play the same open chords that you're, like if we were to do Tennessee Whiskey. You're as smooth. And that's still too low. You keep going up. All right. You keep going up. Now, of course, as you move up, you're changing the key of the song. And if you're jamming with someone who's not moving the capo with you, you need to let them know that, okay, I've just gone up one full step from a G to an A. And now we're playing in the key of A. There's so much more to go into about that, but the easiest way for us to kind of pass this information on to you is if you take a look at the chart itself. If you decide that, okay, I'm going to transpose the song into E major, and you look down the list of places to place the capo in. If you interpret this, this grid, it'll tell you, okay, if you play this chord form using this capo, this is now the key that you're in, and everything along that same row is how you transpose those other chords. So hope that makes sense. It's if you add your capo to help, but you keep the same chord shapes, you're changing the key of the song. And let the person that you're playing with, jamming with, know that, okay, I'm going to move this capo to the 5th fret. I am now playing it in the key of A, or I'm playing in the key of D if you're using the A form. So that's one reason why you would use a capo. All right. Has anyone done that before in their playing? Have they used a capo to all right. Yeah. So now you know that this is also a trick, and this is really the quickest way. It's really the quickest way to transpose a key to your singing range. Now, if it's too high and you have to go down, then I think that the next slide, which is page 18, would also have to be considered as well. Say, for instance, you want to play, instead of G, you're now going to like E, okay? And you look on this chart, I'm on page 18. All right, I'm on page 18. And I was playing Tennessee Whiskey in G. Now I'm going to play it in E. So I'm now looking at this chord positions. E major is what I want to play. And I'm looking in the colored section of that grid and identify every place that has E. All right, so I'm seeing under C major, under that column, I see capo 4. So that means I basically would play on the 4th fret, I've got my capo. All right, and that is the key of E using the C form. Now I also look on capo, let's see, the D major form on capo 2. All right, and then I also see capo 7 I see E listed under A major, and that would be probably the one that I'd want to play in, because I like the E. I like the A form of the E chord. You're as smooth. It's a little easier on my voice. So these are, again, concepts that you can pursue on your own, but just know that that's what these chord charts are showing you. These different graphics are showing you how to use a capo, how to raise, how to lower, how to transpose, and then of course you would
There's another trick.
Oh, go for it.
I love playing. I like playing in a dropped D tuning, which means you tune that top E string, or that low E string down 2 steps to a D, or put the capo on the 2nd fret of strings 1 through 5.
Brilliant.
You don't have to tune it, or detune it.
God, there's so many things you could do with that. Hopefully you're, absorbing all of this, and, plan to take some of this stuff with you, practice on your own, research it on your own. But capos, man, they really come in handy.
The other thing with the capo, if you think about some songs that are so recognizable, a lot of them are played up, like it doesn't sound right if you play it, without a capo. It just doesn't sound right at all.
Yeah. All right. Thoughts, Dave?
One of the most points, is kind of common point, keep going throughout all this. There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat here, and that's the great thing about a guitar. It's different from a piano or any other musical instrument. So about the different fingers you can use to play an open chord, play different bar chords, different places on the fretboard. And like Bruce has pointed out, you put like a drop D tuning and moving the capo around. All kind of different ways to mix it up and make it interesting, which makes the guitar so unique. I mean, that's just kind of the overriding point here, which is really nice. And you can explore all these things on your own, or just keep learning more and more. I mean, you never stop learning more about it. So even if you're like kind of a beginner, or even wherever you are on the scale, beginner, intermediate, advanced, you're always learning more. There's really just a million things to do, and that's what makes it so much fun. So Tom's exposing us to more and more of it every week. So it's all great stuff. That's all.
Cool deal. Yeah. And as for what type of capo, maybe you guys have an opinion on this. Is this a Kaiser? I think this is what's known as a Kaiser. It's the clip-on type, and it's real easy to just throw it on there and take it off. The thing that you should know about capos is that, there you go, chub, right? Is that a chub? Is that what it's called? That's a latch on. Different types, whatever your choice is. When I play live, sometimes I will go ahead and just toss it off, take it off, and then just resume to standard tuning. That's why I use this one. But it's important that you also keep in mind that when you put the capo on, sometimes your strings go out of tune. So play with it. You'll want to make it tight enough so it won't throw your strings out of tune, or place it behind or on the fret where it's not going to make the strings go out of tune. There's some techniques to that, so go ahead and check that out on your own. Anyway, all right. Well, we're coming up on 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Hope you're enjoying the session. We're having a good time up here, walking you through all of this. We're gonna go to the John Denver tune here. This again, for us old school, us boomers, we grew up to this, listening to a lot of this stuff, but a lot of it is carried over into this generation's music. I mean, John Denver's "Take Me Home, Country Roads" is still a very popular tune, even in jam sessions. So what we're going to do is we'll go through that right now. So let's see here. Let me share that PowerPoint presentation, and we can get started, and we'll close out with any questions. All right, as soon as we make it through this song. Thank you all for participating in today's workshop. And don't forget, next week we're going to be going into the third edition of IJAM, and we're going to talk a little bit about resources. Where do I find songs? We're going to talk a little bit about singing and playing. Maybe you're a little like, no, I don't want to do it, but we want to warm you up to the idea of this, because boy, oh boy, sometimes you just have to rock out. And if singing, whether you're in tune or not, just the concepts, at least you'll have some familiarity as to how to approach that. All right, so here we go with Take Me Home, Country Roads. And again, you pick it, you can play it with bass notes. If you want to be challenged this time, try the E form and the A form bar chords. See how that goes. 2, 3, 4. Now here we go. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is older than the trees, younger than the mountains, going like a breeze. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road. All my memories gather round her, mine is lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrops in my country road. Take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, the country road. I hear her voice in the morning hour, she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get the feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. The country roads, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. The country roads, take me home. Country roads, country roads, take me home. Take me home, country roads. All right. Well, hope you had a good time going through that one. It's again, it's one of those real popular ones. You'll want to at least, have that in your back pocket, especially if you head over to an acoustic jam, maybe a jamboree, a country type of hootenanny, perhaps. That's how I got my start. My first instructor was a bluegrass banjo instructor, and made it a point. She was all all about the finger picking and all that stuff. So fun stuff. Anyway, we are at the top of the hour. We've made it through the hour for section number 2 of IJAM. Let me go back to what we're doing next week. Next week, we are going to talk again about those resources, help you find songs, get those video lessons, the guitar tabs and charts and such. We're going to talk a little bit about jamming to different genres of music. I mean, we're touching on a lot of different genres over the last couple of weeks, and then the next 2 weeks that are coming, we're going to be touching on more genres as well too. Jam session etiquette, finding people to jam with, and then the singing and playing. Just to kind of touch a little bit on that. I've got Kelly and Melissa, our G4V instructors, who are going to join me on a panel for that one. So if let's see, are there any questions? Oh, you're welcome, Dan. You're welcome, Kelly. Thanks. You bet, Daniel. Hey, Rich, I appreciate it. We will see you next week, 10 a.m. Pacific, back here. And gosh, in the meantime, have fun with what we're teaching you, and we'll see you then. All right, folks. Take it easy. Bruce, thanks again. Dave, Kelly,
Tom.
goodbye. Take care.